Well, here we go again. 4 rounds in and I've got no representative scores on the board. But before I elaborate too much, it's time to share the stream around. And make sure my phone isn't echoing, because that'll echo back through my mic, which will then echo back through the stream and create an endless recursion of time that will result in a black hole materializing at my exact location. At this point, I'm committed to completing the Nations Cup whatever happens, but I'm not having a lot of fun with the series the way it's set up this season. I might skip the manufacturers after this, because it's not like the Manufacturers Cup needs another player. With the merged regions, there'll be plenty of players. I really just. Huh. Oh wait, this is where else I go. Now, one thing that I may be out of the loop on, because I'm almost certain it's been answered elsewhere at some point, whether it be in the T's and C's that we all glossed over. Most of us did, at least, or in another community that I'm not part of, because I'm kind of more out than in of the greater GT community at this point. But I came back anyway to race because I just wanted to race. If the standings were to stay as they are right now, would New Zealand qualify because McEwen's leading the championship, or would Australia, because they have their best 3 players have the higher combined score? Because both of them are very logical conclusions to me. They didn't, as far as I know, it hasn't been clarified, at least not publicly, outside of maybe the fine print, which country would get in. McEwen will probably continue to lead the championship because of that, what happened back in round 3. But it's unlikely that Atom and Psydog will score enough points to give New Zealand a combined top 3 score that would match Australia's between, I think, it's Twitchy, maybe Emery. I know Yeesh is there. I'm not going to pull the same stunt I pulled last round. If we end up in top split, I am going to race it because it's a slightly shorter event that I can tolerate. And if I do end up in top split with all the DR I've lost, it must mean that that it's a relatively weak top split anyway. So I don't think there's much harm in me trying to race top split if I end up in it, but I really do want to end up in second split nonetheless, because I think that's the only split that I can realistically compete in at this point. I tried doing slot 3 and you saw what happened. Even in a no stop, the tyre wear still cost me almost 10 seconds. I could have been battling that group that came to the line for 6th, 7th and 8th. feel like I've got a good grip of the car right now, aside from a relative lack of pace. I just got to avoid taking too many risks in the infield trifecta of second gear hairpins by taking them in third. Which may be the right gear anyway, because last time I thought there was a second gear hairpin, turns out the rest of the field was taking it in third. That's what Barton told me afterwards, and that's why I was losing a ton of time, because I thought it was surely slow enough to be second gear out. You know, that last hairpin at Deep Forest, it's really slow, and for it to be third gear anyway really surprised me, because I thought the car would bog down too much. So for the sake of not spinning the car around, I am going to take the second gear hairpins in third gear, and I might actually be faster after all, we'll see. That's a confidence building lap. It's not elite, but it'll do. Well, we're just trying to get something. Oh, hi. So if we receive a message from McEwen at some point, if we have a saying about the qualification process, it would mean that because I messaged him just before I went live asking, hey, do you know anything about this? How did I still end up in top split when there's only 13 here? Must be a pretty weak split. McEwen was online. It must mean that he's actively dodging these races now. I think there must be some kind of gentleman's agreement between him, Psydog, and Atom, because if it's just McEwen's score that counts, it means they would get ahead. Oh. No, the things don't line up like this. McEwen was online. McEwen was online. Well, it's not so much. It wasn't so much you, Tazza, because if there was any Kiwi that I would expect would still want to go, it's you, because you would still need to get ahead of Atom. But Psydog's not here because I think he knows he would be assured a bare minimum third. Atom seems to be dodging. I think the positive is that because this is only a 13 player lobby, there is a good chance I could improve my score anyway, even if I lose DR again. And then we'll see what we can do in the last two rounds. That was a sloppier run-up than I would have liked. No, cut the first apex to fin, so I'll just reset to the pits and get the fresh tyres. We had just enough time to do that still. And Shepard is also... I might just go full steam to the line so that Shepard has time to make space for himself. Because I know that Barton's not going to hold me up. At least he shouldn't. Couple of weird steering inputs, but because I'm trying to maximize how much boost the game actually gives me. The car is really weird in how it gives you your boost. You have to be going in a straight line to actually get it. Or at least a very minor steering angle like I'm doing there at the end. Alright, let's put it behind us and focus on the... What the fuck? How did Shepard get ahead? I've never seen this guy in my life, and he's suddenly really faster than me. I definitely feel like that lap was a scrappy one. After the 18.9 I put in, in should probably have been around here instead. But let's see. Let's see what happens in the race. For all I know, this bloody tyre wear might consign me to 11th anyway. In which case, this wouldn't actually be an improvement. I hope there's a little bit of carnage ahead, because I really do need something to go right in this. I really do need something to go right in this this season. I keep getting put in a split that I'm clearly not good enough to compete in. I have to deal with tyre wear. Sometimes I have to deal with making a pit stop when other drivers don't. That was in Toyota Cup, but still. Well, Lester, if Tez is washed, I'm absolutely shit-faced. Have you seen the way I've been driving, what's been happening this year? I couldn't buy a top half finish. I couldn't buy a top half finish if it was literally 3. I had one chance to get it at the Deep Forest round when I fluked the start and ended up in 6th, 2 seconds ahead of Tezza. I just get a bogus penalty and fall into his clutches, get overtaken by every car in that line over the next few laps, and spin trying to make it back. In fairness, maybe the 19.4 wasn't as bad as I thought it was, because this wasn't the best wind. I did the 18.8 in the leading up in a cross tailwind, and this is a cross head. Keep the radar on. Oh, Shepard got sucked off already. I think there's a good chance that most of the field are on mediums. Dirty air. Oh, there's another one. And that's put Hyperdrift in a really bad spot now. Meanwhile, I've got half a run on Jester here. No, it's not the right time. things aren't looking so bad anymore, because if other drivers are having trouble with consistency, we may have a chance to at least do something decent in this race. That was a good final sector from me, a bit of a slow middle sector. Oh wait, the final sector is literally one corner, so you know what I mean. Okay, this is a comfort zone where I've got a car ahead of me, but I'm not under immediate threat of running into them or getting attacked from behind. We can settle into a nice rhythm now. I feel like one of my weaknesses is still eventually doing something stupid in a prolonged, drawn-out battle where we're all smushed up against one another. Like Toyota Cup Round 1, despite being my best results so far this year, I hit Natty Gaines a couple of laps from the finish. That cost us both a place. And he may have been a little bit upset afterwards, as he did horn me, as if to say that he thought he deserved the place, but I hadn't passed him at that point. I only passed him when he went wide at turn 1 the following lap. But anyway, enough of previous races. Let's continue focusing on this. It is a holding pattern for now. Would have liked a better sector than that. That is what they on Twitch call Moncaress. That was so close to being me in the kitty litter and in last place. See that? That was a really weird racing line for me to take, but because it allowed more hybrid deployment, I had a green sector. This car is weird. I wish the overtake button actually just gave you the hybrid deploy even if you're cornering. It would help with Interlagos especially. Of course, I could use a different car, but nothing else is competitive. I don't think PD has plans to balance Group 1 either, because the 2016 cars at least are supposed to be true to their real life performance, and the Porsche just happened to be the best car that season. What they did do was give the new hypercar spec Toyota an ungodly amount of top speed to allow it to compete at LMP1 level, despite the real life version being significantly slower. They're also relatively generous with the Nissan, but not generous enough. It hasn't been the fastest car in Group 1 since Sport in 2018. And even then, that was on a one-lap basis. In actual races, it fell off. I think the tyre wear is a little bit less than I feared. We might be able to go into softs earlier, but probably not as early as most of the field. We are still at risk of getting the undercuts. So the most important thing for me would be to make sure I stretch some kind of advantage on Smash, even if I can't catch the group ahead of me. Like, see, being able to do the hybrid boost, being able to do the hybrid boost manually would help a lot on the exit of the Center S, because you want to, and there too, because you want to be able to get the boost early as you're trying to accelerate, but the game won't let you because you're still cornering. So you have to take weird lines that complete the cornering process earlier, so that the game will be like, oh, you've finished cornering, now I can give you the boost. It's not as big of a problem on this last turn, because you can actually use a soft enough steering input that the game will recognize that you're actually on the straight and give you the boost. But everywhere else, it's really awkward. Like, I'm pressing, I was holding L1 down there, and it wasn't giving me any of the boost until I straightened up. I'm trying to carry too much apex speed into that turn. These are the crucial laps where I have to start gauging how far the softs might last. If tyre wear isn't as bad as I imagined it to be. That is now 10 laps on the mediums. I think things are still more or less okay. I'm not feeling much deg, if any. This complicates things a bit though, because Nicholas Voon has finally gotten around the smush train. That was close. Just managed to hold on to it. Well, Yeesh is only going 11 laps. I think now I might... Oh, Barton! Wow. He's going to go 14 on the soft. Doesn't actually change much for Voon to be ahead instead of Smush, because Voon was also slower than me in quali, so I'll worry more if Hyper Drift gets ahead of the pair of them, which he's aiming to do. We're probably losing the place to Voon either way. Why don't I roll the dice a bit, take the softs 12 laps, and if they go off the cliff, so be it. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna roll the dice on this one. Try and get myself a position on this track where I can gain some time and then defend later if I have to, because softs that are completely dead are still better than mediums that are in the process of dying. And as an additional effect, we do cover off Smush here. For me, this is a risk because the tyres are going to die before the end, but the hope is that it'll be a short enough stint on the dead tyres that I can hold on. Unless the plan is for them to no stop. I should consider that possibility also. Because Barton did say that it was within the realm of possibilities. I can't actually read chat, and seeing as though I'm still in a decent position now, I'm going to wait until the end of the race to read it. Because if this result holds for the first time in a while, I will have a race that I'm actually happy with how I drove. Just no penalties, stay concentrating, build enough of a gap so that when the cliff hits, I can cover off what's happening behind me. It's a shame the Kiwis didn't show up, because if I'd driven like this in Split 2, I reckon I would have had half a chance of podium or the win. Oh, that's not the line I needed to take. Gap is growing, and now he's going to be battling Voon. You can see sometimes I'm taking those awkward lines just to get the hybrid boost a little bit sooner. And oftentimes it actually leads to green sectors. Voon's through. This is where the real battle begins. Half a stint done, half a stint to go. The tyres look good for now, but I know that the second half of the tyre wear is worse than the first. That's as close as I want to get to going off there without actually going off. It was probably not the ideal line. Nor was that. Come on. That is not the time to be having bad sectors like that. Turn! We lost someone. Or did we? Because there's a connection issue that should have said something like, user has disconnected from the room. But I don't see anything yet. Wasn't Jester 10 seconds ahead of me too? Now he's only 6. This is not a good feeling. This feels way too similar to last round when we had when we thought we had Snoopy covered and didn't. But it's just 2 laps. It's just 2 laps and Voon is going to have to be dealing with my dirty air. I could have held that in 5th for a bit longer. Every single apex from here, please. That is not every single apex. Damn it. Gotta go defensive for as long as possible. Definitely going to try something. Oh, how'd he have that much grip? Wait, the penalty's on me? The penalty's on me for getting pushed? I refuse to even serve that penalty. I'm just gonna leave the thing parked up. What the hell? Well, I'm gonna have to avoid getting disqualified at least. There I was thinking the worst that could happen is I finish 9th, and then that happens. What the what? That payday. Ah. There I was thinking I could get 247 or at least 232 if I missed out. First of all, I don't know how he's managed to hold on to me around the outside, because I thought that if I just put my car in all the right places, there wasn't really a way for him to get around. Seriously, it's bad enough. It's bad enough that I have to deal with constantly being out of my depth. The one time I get a chance to have a good score, the PD decides, nope, you went wide, even though you were pushed out there. Ultimately it was Simmons who ended up losing a lap for some reason. First, we're gonna have a look at what happened to Simmons. Because at some point he goes from... Okay, it was somewhere around here. At some point, he goes from being in amongst the pack to it was over here. It was over here. He yeah, and he's still having trouble getting the thing to fire off. And then he spins again, so that explains why suddenly I was ahead of him. Can we talk about this for a sec, though? Because I'm defending Voon like my season depends on it, because it does. Somehow he's got enough grip out there to hold it around. Yeah, I've turned into him, haven't I? He hasn't started turning in. He's turned in a little bit late. I've tried to take the corner as if he's not there. And this is the outcome. I'm out here. I can still potentially defend against the drivers behind, and then the game gives me a penalty for being pushed. The game gives me a penalty for being pushed, and I am so tilted at this point that I decide to park the car up. Because no, that is a load of garbage. Oh gee, I wonder why the tyre difference exists. Thanks, PD! Fix the fucking controller tyre wear issue already! All anger aside, we got to admire this one at least, because he's flirting with disaster with the curb there, and somehow he manages to keep the car right there. I thought he was more on the inside than he actually was. Because he squeezed every bit of road and then didn't turn in immediately, I ended up out here when I probably should have just let him have that place and made sure Hyperdrift doesn't get by. Because even ninth would have been worth 232, but I just tilted after seeing Voon get around me. Well, this is the way I play all racing games. Tilt the stick one way, to brake, tilt the stick the other way. It's not like I'm even using full steering input. It's not like I even use full steering input most of the time. I do for the actual corners, but you saw down the main straights and several other points during that lap, I always partialed it, because that was all the corner required, and I was trying to get back to hybrid boost as soon as possible. Yet somehow I still end up with tyre wear, even though I'm only turning in sharp for the actual corners and not the in-betweeners. I already looked at the replay, Vern, and I realised that I turned in too early because I thought there was a way for me to still get my nose ahead, and I was trying to hold on to whatever place I could. If I was thinking with a clear head, I probably would have given that place up and made sure Hyperdrift didn't get around me, but I've had so many bad results in Nations Cup that felt like the time to drive more aggressively. And I think after defending the inside and still seeing you draw alongside me, Webb, even though you had razor thin margin to put your car, that is what tilted me, because I shouldn't have to deal with this in the first place. I should have tyres that last a decent number of laps, and I don't. I felt like that if I could just get into the triple hairpins ahead, I was good for I was good for the rest of the race, even though my front right was dead, because, and that is why I was like, okay, I got to defend this hard. But you broke so late into that corner that I didn't even have a chance to cut off the outside run before you were alongside me. Like, we can have a look at that one more time before I go. And meanwhile, you just got Barbara casually doing my soft lap times on mediums. So there's always been a pace issue for me, but anyway, this is the run one last time. I was able to. I'm thinking, well, obviously he's going to brake later than me, so I better go to the inside. He's already managed to get alongside me before I can even cut off the outside run. Yeah, look at how close he gets to the curb. And I just... You can see that's a sign of desperation from me, because I'm trying to take as much speed, and I'm pulling a Prost. But then look. The game decides that I've exceeded track limits when I've lost time. And that's tilted me so much that I didn't even bother completing the race. I just decided to drive clean off into the dirt, and like, no, not having it. I did eventually get going again because the game was going to disqualify me, and I think that would have cost me SR. But I was like, well, I'll just go the minimum speed necessary for the game for the game to not DQ me at this point. And see, 247 would have been my best score in either cup this year, and I felt that and it's really sad that if I'd just driven a little bit better, I might have not have come under attack on the last lap in the first place. But obviously I can't blame anyone else but the game, because I definitely tried to turn in too early for that corner when I could have easily backed out and taken a 9th place, which I probably would have been happy with, because that would have been more points than I had. McEwen is still online, you know. He's been online the entire time. He just didn't race. Apparently he's still on now playing... He's still now playing GT7. But that's the problem for us. I won't get the result I'm after. The result I'm after is the result I'm after is at least 250. That is the goal I set for myself, and I haven't, and I've never even been in a position where I could get 250. Maybe once this season, but even then, it's up in the air if I would have gotten that result, even if you hadn't been penalised back into the pack, because the tyre wear would have gotten me again in that race. I don't get to race these guys. That's definitely an improvement for Barbara. That's an improvement for Yeesh as well. So I think that's pretty much locked in. Emery is... When's it going to end, Foz? I had a rough patch last year in season 2, and then I come back and somehow it's even worse. I don't even know if I can finish this season. Every time something happens that gives me a reason to feel happy. So something bad happens that same race that makes me want to quit. I have what I felt was a good race way back in Fuji. Turns out to be by far the fastest split of the night, and I come second last with a race time that would have easily won to split 2 for 270 points. Look, I don't know why I'm yelling about it either, Tezza, but I'm just... I'm fed up. I'm fed up with trying to race only to not even be on a level playing field. It would be one... It's not just not being on a level playing field. I even end up in races where I can't compete against them in the first place, whilst other drivers at my rough pace level get much easier races. I did a Deep Forest, the race after the slot after the slot where I blew a chance due to my own mess ups. 11.7 in qualifying would have easily put me top half of the field if it were in the first 2 slots. Slot 3 supposed to be weaker. I start 9th, so that's another race that was a complete wash. Round 4. I don't even feel like I drive a bad race. I end up 6 seconds off the back of Snoopy because he has magic tires. Round 5. My apologies to everyone, okay? I now realize I was trying to deny I was denying it for so long, but I now realize that this isn't working. I think until the tire wear issue on controller is fixed, I'm gonna have to leave GT7 East by the sim racing indefinitely. I am not having fun with this game anymore. What's the point anymore, Tezza? I had a comfortable lead on the drivers I was battling, and for the second round in a row, it's evaporated in a matter of a couple of laps, and I end up losing the position I should have had. I'm doing nothing but frustrate myself over and over and over again, playing this game with the bloody tire wear. You notice how last year, when most of the races were ×1, I was actually having fun? And even in the races that weren't, the difference in the gap between pad and the wheel was never this bad. I was still able to. It was still in a position where you didn't. It was a meta where you didn't have to drive the tires down to the cords just to save a pit stop. Is there anything else I want to show? I deleted all of my stuff by when I got ready to come back, so that I had time to I had space. I'm gonna show. Actually, there is one more thing I need to show. I'm gonna show it one more time, just if people, so people can understand exactly what the problem is. This race from Wednesday. Let's catch Speedy Snoopy here. And see, look, I qualified 5th here. I had pace. I had pace in this race. And you see, 206, 206, 206. That was the lap that I got passed by Holland, so it kind of balked me. What did happen there again? Because I know he kind of put the nose in. I ran slightly wide, and yeah, he just pushed his way through. I could have simply not run wide in the first place and allowed him to pass down the next straight, but yeah, that happens. But yeah, exclude that lap, and I was doing 206s across the board until the tyres started becoming an issue. Until the tyres started becoming an issue, and well, let's just go to the point where the race is nearly over. Are you seeing that? He's done 20 laps, and he's still able to do more or less the race times from the start of the race. Meanwhile, I've got that. Okay, that's enough of me showing it off back and forth. Even when there was a handicap, I was able to tolerate it because it was never this bad. It was never this bad last year. Or throughout sport. It only became a big issue this year. And fuck it, while I'm seeing as though I'm not going to be playing again, let's look at this one from the Toyota Cup. Once again, qualified 6th. I had decent enough pace in this lobby. Yeah, what happened here? Because I could have been in... I get as high as 5th. Big Bird drives a little bit annoying, so TYRE does get around. Oh yeah, this is the one where I had that big stoush with Holland with Big Bird in general. I picked up that penalty, but I was pitting on this lap anyway, so I wasn't as worried about it, or so I thought. But look at when I'm ready to pit. Does that look like a healthy tire to you? These two aren't really... They aren't... And then look. Okay, rule stones are dead. Does it not make sense for me to assume that this is a one-stop race based on how dead my tire is after 7 laps? But then look! Every single driver ahead of me has decided to carry on. When it would have I would have had to have done that for 7.5 laps all up. Meanwhile, it's lap 13. And Barbara still has something left in him. Actually, that's not entirely fair. Like, Barbara, at this point, has about the same tyre life left as I had at the end of lap 7. Because if we... Yeah, that's how much I had after 7 laps. And now let's look at what Barbara has after 11. Yeah, about the same. How can I predict that it was going to be a no-stop race based on the tyre wear I was seeing when the tyre wear they're seeing is nowhere near as severe? I can go back to the race. I can go back to today's race and give you an idea of how yours were. Assuming you were in our lobby. I technically got classified last in this lobby, but it probably should have been at least an 11th anyway. It was just that once Hyperdrift and Shepard got around me. Oh, so you do want me to go back to the Toyota race? No, I've got all the time. I've got all the time in the world. I'm just trying I'm just trying to leave things off on a less angry note. I apologize again for getting angry at your comments. I've had so many. I had so many misfortunes starting from season 2 like last year, and compounding now, that I just couldn't. I just had it. Okay, this is you. Okay. Okay, yours only lasted about 9. If I knew back then that you could go 5 laps on a completely deflated front right, I wouldn't have pitted in the first place. Because how much did that pit stop cost me? 24 seconds, I'd say. But well, no, let's say 25, including the pit exit lap. 25 seconds versus whatever it would have been on dead tires, which was apparently only a second and a half or so. Well, that's it, guys. It's an error message.